All right, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, let's give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. All right, in today's lesson, we're going to go into those ICBMs, okay, which are prophecy. All right, so what's being spoken about right now around the world with nuclear war, nuclear conversations, between Russia, U.S., Iran, Pakistan. You see, so you may see that a lot, in the news right now. With these leaders, constantly talking about their this nuclear arsenal, so to speak. That's like the headlines. So before I go into this into Jeremiah chapter 50, we're gonna I saw this right here in the backdrop. I took a screenshot. All right, so it's right here. It says Russian-Iran deal. All right, so this is pretty major right here because it says Russian-Iran strategic nuke pact sealed. See that? Nuke pact sealed because Iran has these ICBMs. Because they're friends with Russia. So that's something that's major because the Lord is going to use, Yahweh Shai is going to use the Russians to fire, to get that nuclear war going. All right, so right there, that's major. It says Russian-Iran deal because, of course, Iran has those ICBMs because they're friends with Russia. So that's just showing you more and more that that these nations are, they're gonna do exactly what the Lord tells them to do. Because the Lord created all these militaries, all these powers around the group for His pleasure. You gotta understand, the Lord created everybody for their reason. And that's what you got to understand, is that nobody here is doing their own will. All right, the Lord created all these militaries for these World War wars. World War III is brewing, and that's going to be full bloom here shortly. See that? So, as soon as you understand that Yahweh Shai is in power and that no one does anything without the Lord's consent, you start to get a better understanding. You start to get a better understanding of, of what's going on and why it's happening. See? So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. Let me see here. All right, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. So, it's saying great nations from the north. So it's not just, Iraq and, the little guys. No, it's talking about the great nations. These powerful nations, starting with Russia, China, Iran, who have nuclear arsenal, who are, they're superpowers. So they're strong nations. So right there, it's saying for I, because the Lord is causing all this to happen. See? And they shall set themselves in array against her, So right there, Babylon is talking about America. It's not talking about ancient Babylon where there was Nebuchadnezzar was ruling. No, it's talking about America because ancient ancient Babylon. All right, it's still intact. All right, it's still intact. So the location of where ancient Babylon was in Iraq. Okay, so and that you still have people dwelling there to this day. All right, you have people living there, and that's where ancient Babylon was located. To give it like a pin drop, it was over there in Iraq. All right, and you still got people living there right now. So this Babylon, the modern day Babylon, is talking about America. So Babylon stands for a Babal, which means confusion, because in America there's nothing but confusion. You got you even got the so-called white man, white women who are confused here. Because they surely believe in the Constitution. They have no idea that this place has been bought and paid for by the international bankers. Okay, the ruling elite. So this whole place is a corporation ran by the elites. You see, so even they're confusion. Even the Edomites in their own kingdom. Because you got a lot of confusion here. People are, you got homosexuals and all that. You got men chopping off their rods, trying to be women. You see, that's confusion. You got men walking around with long hair. People don't even know what it is until it turns around. Like, what is that? Is that a man? What is that, a woman? See that? So that's confusion right there. You see? All right, so let's continue. And they shall set themselves in array against her. So they're coming against America. It's right there. It's plain. So it doesn't matter what type of peace treaties they have. They're working out some deals, between, U.S. and China with their tariff deals and all this and that. At the end of the day, it's all about the Lord's agenda. Okay, and this is what you have to understand. Because, yeah, they may have a few business deals here and there, but at the end of the day, the Lord's word is going to fulfill. So this is how we know. This is why those of us in the truth, we don't get too comfortable here, because we know this place is going to go into total chaos, famine, anarchy, martial law, and then the cherry on top is going to be the ICBMs. Yeah. So this place right now, known as America, will never ever be the same, ever again. And we know this. So that's what, because we know what's coming. See? So let's see here. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Their arrows are talking about the ICBMs. So this is how you know that they are going to fire them off. So she shall be taken, because right there, she shall be taken is talking about because America is going to lose in this in World War III. All right, so that's why it says right here, she shall be taken. Is America going to put up a fight? Damn right, they're going to put up a fight. You think America is just going to hear about it and not do nothing? Of course they're going to fight back, but they're going down. It's just something that you got to realize. Is prophecy. Because this is the Lord's program. No matter how hard someone don't like it, how hard someone tries to fight against it, it's the Lord. Okay, so right here, let's go to verse 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. Chaldea is talking about America, because America is the platform of these elites. Okay, America is the main stage that impacts the rest of the world, because everybody knows about Kardashians, LeBron James, Hollywood, So the elites use America as their main stage for their witchcraft, their sorcery, you know. And whatever America does, it impacts the rest of the world. You see? So let's get that again. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All right, spoil, because America is going to be invaded by Russia, China, and Iran very soon. You know, they already have the majority of their sleeper cells here in America. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, right? Because no one's going to stop it, you know, because you can't tell the difference between a Chinese or a Russian who's a sleeper cell and, you know, a regular, you know, good person who's you know, a Chinese American citizen, you know, who's a decent person, you know. If you don't know that person individually, you can't tell the difference, you know, because would you be able to tell the difference just by looking at someone who, a so-called Chinese or a so-called Russian, and know that, you know, they're a standing, you know, Russian American citizen, or if they're a sleeper cell, you know? So that's something that you know, you can't tell, you know? And that's the thing which makes America very dangerous. It's like a ticking time bomb, you know? Because you know, it's like that movie Troy. Remember when that black horse was inside the walls? That was it. You know, so can you imagine everybody's already here. You know, you are gonna have a number of you know, Russians, foreign soldiers, you know, leave it like that. You know, foreign soldiers that are gonna come in here, you know, like last minute sleeper cells and invade this place. But you already have millions here. You know, imagine they're already inside the walls, just waiting. You know, and it's not like they have, you know, like they wear a uniform and, you know, you can tell, oh, okay, those sleeper cells right there. You can't tell, you know? So that's another clear, evident token that America's finished. All right, because not only that, these leaders, they sold the American people out. They followed the instructions of the elites. So that's why you're going to have a major civil war. Because some people, yeah, they cannot get it. You know, they think that America's going to be here forever. This is the end all be all. But you actually have Americans out there that are aware of this now. And they're like, yo, you know what? These leaders have been lying to us. And they're learning about the Social Security card, you know, that these elites run everything, you know, their birth certificate. So there's going to be a big number of Americans who are going to fight back against the New World Order, you know, because yes, there's a lot of people who have sold out, but there is still a good number of people. And remember, you don't have to be necessarily know the whole truth, you know, because people who are just kind of watching, you know, learning, they are, you know, they know, you know, because it's not that hard, because all you gotta do is a little research, you know. So those people who, you know, care, you know, around the world, you know, they're going to, you know, get the warning, you know, because the elect are only a certain amount of people, you see. So not everyone is gonna know the whole truth, because that was only destined for a few souls, you see. So, you know, but those who want to know, you know, like what's going on out there, this is why you have preppers, doomsday preppers. Why is that? Because they know that society's about to collapse, you know, martial law. See that? They may not know the Lord entirety, you know, the whole truth, but you have people prepping out there for civil war, because it's pretty evident. You know, it's pretty evident. Evident means it's being made clear, you know, because it's not that much, you know. All you have to do is a little research, and you can clearly see that, yep, you know, the society is on a brink of civil war, you know, because people are not getting along here, you know. People don't even like their leaders here, you know. You got people who are unhappy here. Let's put it like that, you know. So people are unhappy. So by that, you know, that already creates a division, you know, which means people don't see eye to eye. so to speak. All right, so let's continue on. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, said the Lord. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So, right. Because, once again, all the sleeper cells, well, the majority of them are already here. And you're talking millions. All right? There's millions here. So, the thing is just that, America is going to do something about it, but they're not going to stop it. Facts, because you got American citizens now who want to see America destroyed because they're not happy. A lot of people are getting screwed over right here. There's a lot. So even the remember when back with Trump, how they attacked the Capitol? You have a lot of Americans who are like that too, because they think that they're called like American Bible Belts, but they don't like the way America's being ran, so they want to take it over too. So not only do you got sleeper cells here trying to destroy America, you got American citizens who want to destroy their own place just to kind of give it a fresh start. So you got nothing but total. It's like a ticking time bomb. That's the best way I can put it. So let's go down to the 14th verse. Let's see here. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. Put yourself in array against Babylon. So the Lord's saying, come up against America. This is why you're seeing the whole world come up against America. You see when Trump puts tariffs on Canada and Mexico, they're fighting back. They're not like, oh, okay, America, this, and because everybody's not scared of big bad America no more. Back in the 70s and all that, people were scared. The 80s, America just stepped on whoever they want, no question. There was no pushback. But now, you even have their own allies who are like, nah, Canada's upset. Mexico, even that the president was talking back too, because people are not agreeing with America, because America just thinks that, the leaders, because not everybody has the same opinion in America. But so these other small nations, even their allies, yeah, they're tired of it too. Because America treats the leaders, of course, treat people like trash, even their own allies. So it's kind of like when you have a friend, and like they just keep on bossing you around and like you're buddies, but after a while you're like, I'm tired of this shit, because that's how America's allies are. Yeah, they're allies with America, but they're getting treated like shit, because America, they treat their own allies like crap. So this is why they're getting mad, they're getting angry. See, but it's all the will of the Lord. See? Okay. So Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon, means America. Round about, all ye that bend a bow. So the Lord is getting all these nations ready that have nuclear capability. This is why they keep on testing their ICBMs, their supersonic missiles, their ballistic missiles, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai demands perfection. You see, so this is why they're constantly testing, because the Lord is making sure these nations have them nice and ready, nice and ready to go. Shoot at her. That means at America, okay? Spare no arrows, right there. So spare none. So what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is saying, all of them, okay? We're talking the ones in their submarines and their silos, okay, their jets. Look what the Lord's saying. The Lord is not saying, oh, shoot one or two, just kind of, give America a bloody lip. No. The Lord's saying, hit him with that Mike Tyson hook, knock him out. Check it out. It says right here, shoot at her, spare no arrows, so spare none. Okay, the Lord is telling these other nations, when I tell you, you're going to empty the clip. Not just a few, overkill. This is what you got to understand, is how mad the Lord is at America. You gotta remember, the Lord has a bone to pick with America. You know, so the Lord is gonna have them have these. This is why the Lord has this like these brave spirits on these other nations, because they may not be as powerful as America, but they're angry, you know, and they got power too. You know, spare no arrows for. So here's the point. So you might say, well, why? Why is the Lord having all these nations do that? You know, empty the clip, so to speak. For she has sinned against the Lord. Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right, because the leaders here worship Satan in bafflement. See, that's because they're hypocrites. Yeah, they may lie to the people, but you ain't lying to the Lord. And the angels see everybody. So this is why, you know? It's not like the Lord's just picking on America. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. You know, America messed up, okay? Because here in America, there's all 12 tribes in slavery at the same time. You know, and all these top politicians, even over there at the Vatican, all them, they're all Satanists. You know, Freemasons, Jesuits. You know, they bow down to Satan in bafflement. All right, and those are facts. You know, we're not just assuming over here. This is what it is. This is why the Lord is gonna destroy this place. All right, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 15. Shout against her round about. She had given her hand, her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her, as she had done, do unto her. See that? So this is why, you know, because in the beginning of this lesson, you know, I was telling you that these nations are getting mad. So, you know, and we're not going to go into specific and all these details, but just know that these nations are getting treated by crap, you know, from their ally America. Okay, so right here, this is why this is the Lord talking to the other nations, the Russians, the Chinese, okay, Iran. All right, remember how Trump took out their top nuclear scientists and their top general? So you think Iran's just they want blood? You know, you gotta remember that. All right, so as she had done, do unto her. So not only is the Lord gonna bring vengeance for the Israelites, his people, but he's even telling the other nations, go ahead, get her back, you know, because America has been dealing treacherously around the world. All right, because look at how all these other countries like Mexico, Brazil, you know, all the people are poor and suffering. Why? Because these top rulers, Edomites, they go around the world, you know, stealing the resources, setting up their puppet politicians and stuff like that. So the people in the higher ups, yeah, they're taken care of, but the people are suffering. Why? Because they created this corrupt system. All right, that keeps the people down, keep the people oppressed. See, that there should be no reason why in Mexico, Brazil, that people are, you know, all starving, and you know that those countries are fat with resources, you know, major. But the reason why they're like that is because the so-called white man has infiltrated them. That's why, right there. It's not because the people are messed up. The people were perfectly fine before the so-called white man got in there and destroyed it. See? Okay, so Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 16. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For the fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. Right, because now is the time that, you know, those people who are watching, okay, they're going back to their nations. Okay, they're going back to their they're going back to their countries, you know, because the heathen, the other nations, they come over here to make money, you know, because America, you know, people come over here to make money because there's money to be made over here, all right? Because this is Babylon the Great. So what you got to understand is that so these nations now that came over here and that are that made money, they're going back now because they see, all right, the American dollar is about to collapse. They see there's about to be a civil war out here, All right, because any person who has a decent head on the shoulders, or her shoulders, his or her, okay, they are going to, they are gonna know, like, yeah, yeah, like this place is out of here. Okay, the American dollar bill is decreasing. The American dollar bill, the FRN, is devaluing by the day. All right. Right here. So let's go down to the 22nd verse. Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Yeah, because who goes around telling other nations what they can and cannot do? It's America. All right, it's because America is the hammer of the earth. See that? But now these nations are pushing back because, there was once upon a time, back like in the 70s, 80s, where, people wouldn't, they wouldn't talk back or push back against America, but now they are. But why is that? Because we're at the end, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? So this is why it's going to get more chaotic. A lot's going to happen here because you're witnessing the end of a kingdom. And America's not no regular kingdom. America is very powerful. Very powerful. They have embassies almost like on every continent around the world. America has the whole world in their hands. Because there's not nobody who tells America no. America goes around doing what they want. You see? So how has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right. So America is going to be desolate among the nations because right now America is the head. America, you got the beast system, which is NATO, the EU, and America, right? Those are the three parties that are pushing for the New World Order, right? Okay. So America is on top of them. That's America is the horde that sits on the beast. The beast system is that team. It's a team pushing for the New World Order. Okay, because once again, so why is it a team? All right, because once again, they work for the elites, pushing for the New World Order agenda. This is what you gotta understand. These top politicians and presidents, they are for the New World Order. All right, 100%. You see? So, they can lie to the masses, because those of you that are not learned, because, you see someone with a suit and tie, you think that, oh, no, they wouldn't sell it to people. But they had the people fooled, because now they have the people's souls, because whatever they say, people believe it, But you have a certain amount of people out there that are seeing, what it is. Okay, so now there's a big uprising. It's called an awakening. See? All right. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 24. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. And thou was not aware, thou art found, and art also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. Right there, because not only are these leaders, okay, America and these Edomites, is the Lord angry with them? But they're fighting against the Lord. All right. So not only are they messing up, all right, and being demons, but they're actually preparing to fight the Lord. So they're doing things to mock the Lord. They're doing things on purpose. So this is why the Lord is going to completely destroy them. This is why the Edomites and heathens are going straight into slavery. See, because what a lot of people don't really know. Okay, because you may say, oh yeah, they're not following the law, statutes, commandments, and all that. But to go even deeper is that these leaders, they're actually challenging the Lord. All right, because they're striving against the Lord. So not only are they messing up, but they're doing it and saying, "And what?" They're telling the Lord, basically, bring it on. This is what they're saying. Can you imagine? So this is why it's not just the Lord's gonna destroy America. No, there's a big reason. A big reason. Right here, verse 25. The Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. So those missiles are his missiles. Indignation means righteous anger. You see, so the Lord opened up his armory. Like at your house, when people have weapons, they have like their safe or whatever. That's what the Lord's doing, because it's time for judgment. So the Lord's weapons are the angels, the 144,000, the prophets, because this word is cutting our enemies, and they're hurt. But so what, So yeah, like when somebody has weapons at their house, they have what do you call it? They have they open up their safe, right? And then you have like their shotguns, their rifles, their handguns, maybe a knife, whatever, right? So this is what the Lord is doing. The Lord is opening his armory. So the Lord, making his selection, It's just like that, So the Lord's opening up his safe, like his safe of weapons, and that's what he's gonna use, He's gonna use the Russians to shoot the ICBMs over here, and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Right, because this is the work of the Lord. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51, Jeremiah 51:11. All right. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So right there, let's break this down. All right, so Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 11, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. So make bright the arrows. This is why these nations are focusing right now on their ICBMs. You see these nations, including America, who have them. They're constantly testing them. North Korea. Well, why is that? It's not just because the leaders, they just want to test it. Remember, the Lord tells the angels, and then when these leaders, when they're sleeping, the angels are programming them. You gotta understand that the Lord and the angels control everybody out here. Whether they don't know it. It's like like MK Ultra, but imagine from the Lord. The Lord controls everything. It doesn't matter if people say, "Oh, that's not true," or "No, he doesn't." That don't matter, because they didn't create themselves. They didn't create this planet. It's control beyond your comprehension. So that's something that you gotta realize. So just because someone says, "Well, I don't believe that," it doesn't change anything. That just means that person don't believe. You know what I'm saying? That's all that means right there. Make bright the arrows. So the Lord is having these nations build these ICBMs, right? Gather the shields. The Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, hath raised up the spirit of the king and the Medes, the Russians. All right, because the Lord's raising them up to get this nuclear war started. For his device, those ICBMs, is against Babylon, against America. So this is why, remember a few months back when Trump went to go eat lunch with Putin, So once again, it doesn't matter on the headlines if you see the news that, Russia and America are getting along. You got to remember, the Lord is going to have Putin, fire off those missiles over here to America. So they're already planning it. You know, they already have you know, millions of sleeper cells here in America. Facts. For his devices against Babylon, America, to destroy it. See, so it doesn't say that you know, the Russians are a little upset at America. You know, they're gonna have a little war, duke it out. You know what I'm saying? For his devices against Babylon to destroy it. So to destroy it. See, so their whole agenda, their whole plan is not just to fight against America. They're going to destroy it with their ICBMs. This is why you have Russian sleeper cells, Iran sleeper cells, Chinese sleeper cells. They're all here, okay? Because they're planning on overthrowing America. They don't want to just hit America and give America a fat lip. No, they want to completely destroy this place. You know, and they are. That's what you gotta understand, because it's the will of the Lord. So it's not like these other nations, okay, like, yeah, okay, they're a little mad at America. They want to just kind of, you know, fight it out. No, they want to completely devour this place, America. All right. So this is what you gotta understand. You know, these other nations, yeah, they may put up a front on the TV, but you gotta understand their whole plans is to destroy America. You know, they're not just a little mad or, no, they're you know, they're in it to win it. That's what you gotta understand. All right. Because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. See? So let's go to the 12th verse. Set up the standard. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 12. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. Because this is why America is known as Babylon the Great. Okay, I mean the virgin daughter of Babylon. So why is it the virgin daughter of Babylon? Because this place hasn't been touched. You know, you had Pearl Harbor, but that was the inside job. Okay, you also had the Civil War in 1860 between the North and the South of Americans. You know, they're half of them were for Jefferson Davis. The other were with Abraham Lincoln. Okay, but other than that, this place hasn't been touched. You know, so but it's about to. You know what I'm saying? It's about to be touched. That's why it's called the Virgin Daughter of Babylon, because not only do you have sleeper cells here, but you have a lot of sleeper cells, foreign troops who are about to invade America. See that? For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So yeah, so those individuals who are here in America, okay, yeah, and if you're not part of the hopeful elect, okay, what you gotta understand is that no one's gonna make it out of America. All right, bottom line, if you're not part of the Lord's elect, you won't survive. It doesn't matter if you're in the most expensive underground city, you know, because they have underground cities all throughout America. You know, underground cities, underground tunnels, and all that. They're all going to be melted down there, because this place is going to be like overkill here. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that you have to realize. All right. So yeah, even if you're, you know, because they have not only that, but the militaries, they're called DUMBs, deep underground military bases. They're gonna melt in there too. All right. What you gotta understand is that the ground here is gonna liquefy like a smoothie. That's how hot it's gonna be here in America. So for anybody, even if they're like in the most expensive, you know, underground bunker, you know, if you're in America, you will not survive. You know, you will not survive. So with that, that's it on today's lesson on the ICBMs. All right, keep the faith, stay on the path, and trust in the Lord. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, the flavor of the week. You know, trust in the Lord, because at the end of the day, it's your soul that's on the line. You know. So with that, on your feet, soldier. Shalom.